Hi everyone, welcome to Fat to Thin Senior RNY. I'm Raven. I was 76 years old when I had gastric bypass surgery on December 16, 2019. Medicaid approved the surgery. Last week, I talked about my big Thanksgiving and my tiny Thanksgiving feast. And it was a feast. In this vlog, I'll be talking about the importance of the first few months after surgery. Basically, if you want to change the game, you must know the game and not just the rules of the game. If you're curious, please continue to watch and join me on this journey. Last week I talked about my big Thanksgiving and my tiny Thanksgiving feast. It took 3 days to eat all of the leftovers, and I enjoyed every single mouthful of it. Believe me. This week I'll be talking about the importance of the first few months after your surgery. Basically, if you want to change the game, you must know the game and not just the rules of the game, which means that you have to work it. You've got to work this deal. This is with a capital W. You've got to work it. You got to play the game. You gotta do what you need to do. Okay. For the pre-surgery diet, for instance, it's a great time to get your questions answered and to start seeing what you're going to be living with for the rest of your life, because this is surgery. They either take it out or split it off or rebunch it or reattach it some other way. But it ain't the way it was, okay? The medical reasons for the pre-surgery diet seem to me, anyway, to get you focused on what you're about to do. Make you start really looking at this, to give you a taste of what's to come and the seriousness of this decision to have this surgery. To see if you can actually keep to the physical restrictions so as you don't waste their time, your time, and your money, and their effort, and their money, and, you need to see if you can actually do this, if this is something that you could actually live with for the rest of your life, because you're going to have to. And it's also, as far as medical establishment is concerned, to get you ready physically for surgery. They also want your mental adjustments. You need to get your head together. If you're going to do this surgery, if you're going to succeed with this surgery, you got to get used to focusing on what you're doing and doing now to affect your change. I mean, yesterday what you ate doesn't matter, except of course it's on your hips or wherever. It's today that matters. It's always today that matters, because you don't have yesterday, you don't have tomorrow, you got right this minute, and it could end the next minute, you know what I mean? So you got to get yourself mentally prepared. This is also, I think, a good time for you to get used to tasting your food. I mean, I can very much remember and still sometimes fall into just shoveling food in my face. I haven't got a clue what it tasted like, and it's about making decisions about your food instead of just shoveling it in. At some point you realize that, oh, I should stop or I should do something, and you make a decision at that point. You got to get used to making that decision, used to finding that point. Because I know at some point I didn't know where to stop, obviously, because I was morbidly obese. And it's also a good time to find out deep down, really deep down, do you really want this? Is this a game for you? Is this a new diet? You know what I mean? A new thing. It's because everybody's doing it, or what? Because this is a one-time process. They are cutting you open, you know? And I think this period of time, this pre-surgery diet, is to get you physically ready for surgery, also. As for the post-surgery diet, after you've had the surgery, you're going to be drinking a lot of protein shakes and stuff. You need to be sure to follow up with everything, every appointment, everything. Do it, because your body is pretty much in shock for a while after you have that surgery. It doesn't have a clue what you just did and why you did it and and what to do next. Okay. The medical team's reason for this post-surgery diet is to get you focused on maintaining your health, to get you to having your protein, drinking your water, so you don't end up in the hospital like I did. Even though I did drink the protein, I apparently wasn't eating enough or drinking enough water, and particularly water. Now, the funny thing is that before I had the surgery, I drank water all day long, every day. And as of right now, I cannot drink ice cold water, which is unfortunate because I really liked ice cold water. One swallow and my stomach hurts. That's it. So my water has been pretty close to lukewarm or luke cool, Anyway, the medical reasons for the post-surgery diet is to keep you focused on maintaining your health with the protein, etc., etc. Keep you alive, keep you working, your body doing its thing, providing the protein because protein is necessary for healing. It's also to keep you aware of the seriousness of your decision as you begin to feel better. They don't want you to lose sight of the fact that you just had surgery, and your body is changing. Everything is changing. And it's also to help you lose a lot of weight, because at this time, you can't eat anything. You can't. You don't even want to eat anything. You don't really want to be, no, leave me alone, kind of thing. And during this time, you will drop weight because physically you are fasting. Absolutely fasting. You're 100% fasting for at least 30 days of pretty much nothing to eat. 200, 300, 400 calories if you're lucky. And that's about it. And so, yeah, you're going to lose a lot of weight. Now, obviously, you're not going to keep that up forever. First of all, it tastes terrible after a while. You get sick of it. And you know how it is. You want something to chew. Nothing in the world like a Dorito. But, you're not going to stay that way. So after a while, your weight loss will slow. But take advantage of this time. Absolutely. For your mental adjustments during this post-surgery diet is to get you used to eating small amounts of food, getting used to using a small fork, to a small gulp of liquid instead of the 64 32-ounce jugs that we seem to see in stores, and they called them medium size. To get you used to eating a normal size amount of food, to become aware of your body and its requirements. So you've got to kind of sort of listen, kind of figure out what is this stomach growling? What is this? My head turning, looking for something. What is my thinking about food all the time? What does it really mean? Am I looking for something to drink or something to eat, or is it just because I'm nervous or I'm bored, or become aware of your body and its requirements. And it's also a good time to get you used to tasting your food. Now you got to think, you go through a month, maybe a couple of weeks of just drinking liquids, and you get to eat again. And of course you don't go out and go, get a Big Mac and fries and whatever. but you get to taste little things, little amounts of things, and you get to taste it again, and you get to learn how to savor your food and make decisions about it, and whether or not to get up and get a second bowl or whatever. But this is an opportunity to get your mental stuff together. So you've got 2 tools right here, right after surgery, immediately after surgery, and you're automatically going to drop weight because you're not eating. So you've got 2 tools. You take your proteins in order to heal properly. You do what you're supposed to do as far as the doctors are concerned. And then you get the other thing is you get your mental stuff together. You have the opportunity here to say, okay, I physically cannot eat a whole hell of a lot of food. So what I'm eating now, how does it taste? Is it worth putting in my mouth? Is it an 8 or better on the scale of 1 to 10? If it's not 8 or better, toss it out. Can you toss it out? How do you feel about tossing it out? That kind of stuff, you know. And it's a good time to do it because physically you really can't do much else. I mean, you can't eat a whole lot of food. You just can't, you know. And it's also, this time is to get you used to seeing a weight loss, getting used to kind of checking yourself out and seeing how your clothes fit and all that kind of stuff. Find out what your style is. I mean, after all, if you've been as big as I was, you're wearing, you know, big clothes that seriously are not stylish unless you happen to have big stylish kind of money and can afford to go to a designer, you know. If you're doing Walmart or JCPenney's or whatever like that, you're not in style. You're not. There is no style. There's a fat style. You know what I mean? So you're going to find out what your style is on everything. I mean, you might find that you like different kinds of foods. You never tried Indian food, East Indian food, American Indian food. Hey, try it. See what it's like. Find out where your clothing is at. Even look around your house. See if, you know, you do really like the decor that's here. You know, you have an opportunity to be a new you. So jump on it. The importance of the first few months is the liquid diet. This is a big thing here to keep your stomach calm. And the liquid diet is really important to keep your stomach calm while it's healing, to provide you with protein, as I said, keep you hydrated. Yes, you got to do that. You know, it's getting harder and harder for me to drink water, and I don't know why, but I'm desperately working at it, forcing myself to drink. The liquid diet is great for you mentally. It gives you time to think and to meditate. I found that it was okay, but it was tiring. The liquid diet was just tiring. It was okay. I was just sick of it after a while. All of the drinks were sweet. Absolutely everything was sweet. I couldn't, and to the point where it became intolerable after a while. Everything was sweet except, of course, bouillon cubes or bone broths, and you get tired of that after a while too. I planned for this much more than I needed. I spent a lot of money planning for this, thinking that, Lord knows, I spent big bucks on protein powders and drinks, which I still have got a lot of, and it's a year later. I've got at least 3 containers of the powder, big containers. I've got about 5 bags, a pound each, of powders, and I still have some drinks a year later. I have been thinking about, I really need to maybe try it again to see if it's so ungodly sweet anymore, or find a different way to use them, because that's easily $100 sitting there doing nothing, and I could be getting my protein, you know. I think that if you go out and you buy stuff, don't buy more than 2 weeks at a time. And people told me I would hate Jell-O. I don't hate it. I'm not going to eat it. At least for a while anyway. As for the soft food diet, I found that I had limited my choices without really realizing it until towards the end of the soft food diet. I mean, all this idea of soft foods and whatnot was really new to me, and I was very anxiety-ridden about it, and went out and bought a bunch of baby food, which I ended up giving away because it was horrible, which I was surprised for. I stayed with the protein shakes and really soft foods during that time. I could have had other foods, other soft foods from around the world. Didn't even occur to me. Look, I mean, I looked at some recipes and whatnot, but I didn't really try them, you know. But I should have, you know. I pretty much stayed with American soft foods, cottage cheese, hummus, you know, stuff like that. Hummus was new to me, which was, I find that I still like it, still good. I find out how the food industry has sweetened everything, including baby foods. I think that is horrible. They call it putting fruit in the food. But can you find any baby food on that shelf anywhere from any manufacturer that doesn't have fruit in it or some kind of sweetener of some kind? You can't. Does that mean that a child never learns to like anything other than sweets? I mean, because that's all they're exposed to, unless you give them something else, you know. Anyway, I started cooking again, and so therefore I started making my own soft food, so that turned out okay. But that happened after I went out and spent big bucks on baby food and found out that it was horrible stuff and it tastes terrible. I remember when my kids were babies and they had first started making baby foods, because it was brand new, you know, to buy baby food in a jar already prepared. Wow. I remember opening up a jar of chicken or a jar of beef, and it tasted like chicken or beef with nothing on it. So you could put a little bit of sauce on it, tomato sauce on it, spice it up. You could throw a teeny bit of salt, but it was the food that it was supposed to be. It was not chicken with applesauce mixed in, if you understand what I'm saying here. So watch your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids. Feed them some real food. I started cooking again, as I said, and made my own soft foods. I started checking recipes online and trying new things, buying new spices, that kind of stuff. So I've been on an experimental journey, which is kind of cool, actually. I think that this period of time too, these first few months, is a good time to learn how to eat and how not to eat again. To get back into intuitive eating, as you probably did when you were young, you know. And it's a damn good time to find out what works for you, because everybody's diet is different. Everybody's body is different. Everybody likes different things, you know. I mean, and then I think the biggest thing out of this, because you're automatically losing weight because you're pretty much fasting, you know, you're eating very low calories and that kind of stuff. You need to learn, like I had to learn, how to take responsibility for what I put in my mouth. I did it. Nobody else shoveled it in there. Nobody forced me to swallow. None of that. Okay? And then learn what you actually like to eat. So this is a really cool time, because you're at the beginning. It's like being a baby again. You don't know what you like, what you can eat. Your taste buds so completely change. Everything so completely changes that you're a whole new person here. And to go back to doing what you used to do is a recipe for failure. So look at this as a adventure. You know, you get to find whole new things that you didn't even know was out there. And it really, the whole deal is to find out what works for you. what works for you so that you can continue to lose or maintain where you're at and be healthy. Oh, excuse me. As I said, if you want to change the game, you got to know the game, not just the rules of the game to win. You must know your opponents too. Chocolate chip cookies, potato chips, pretzels, cake. Okay. So anyway, on to the rally report. Rally's got high anxiety this week. We had to move. You have to move at least once a year here in this park. You have to go from one spot to another. I had to move his bed and pick up his toys, pack up his toys. He was stressed. He did not want me to move that bed, you know, nothing. And then, of course, I was taking down things and packing up stuff and moving stuff so that they don't fall off the shelves and things like that, so that they could move this rig, you know. I was stressed. The guy was supposed to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and at 1 o'clock I'm going over there saying, where the hell are you? The people who were going, I had lined up to help, are not available now. You know, what are you going to do? So he starts tomorrow. Oh, I had to move today. Okay, I could move tomorrow if I talked to the people in the office and if they agreed. But I was prepared to move from 8 o'clock that morning. I was up at 5:30. Me and Rowley went out for our hour-long walk. Came back, finished packing up the rest of the stuff, and sat here from 8 until 1 o'clock. Anyway, I was stressed. And Rowley could feel I was stressed. So they get over here. The slide wouldn't go in. And then when they finally got it in place, they actually moved us with the slide hanging open because we couldn't close it. It's something with the electricity and hydraulics and that kind of stuff. We get it over to the new spot, and they're moving the last inch into place, and one of the tires goes flat. I was stressed. I was seriously stressed. But we got in place. The rig didn't tip over while we were moving it. He was driving it at about 2 miles an hour. Nothing fell down on the inside and nothing broke. So that was okay. So I kind of calmed down. So he's kind of sort of slightly calming down. But this is still very new to him. You know, every time I open the door and he wants to go out, he's not recognizing the place outside, you know. The outside has changed. So now we're walking a new route because I live on a different row. And on this road, there are a lot of dogs. And so he wants to bark and say hello or whatever to every single one of them every time we go by, whether it's, you know, 5 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock at night. He's calming down. But now, too, you know, anyway, that's that. He's calming down. I think he's calming down more than ever because I put everything back in its place. I put his dog bed back where it was supposed to be. I did not take his toys and put them out on the floor. I did put the basket that has his toys back on the floor. Okay, and he's only taken out one toy this morning. Yesterday he took out every single toy out of that basket and laid them all over the floor. Every single one. Anyway, he's calming down. Today he was pretty good. Okay, so last thing, I'm on to the race reports. I walked 126 miles so far on the Pan American Trail. I have a little more than 3,000 miles to go. Okay. I'm on day 4 of 31 of the Holiday Streaker Challenge. I earned the mistletoe badge, one of the 6 badges in this journal. One of 6 badges in this challenge. This is the trick or streak badge that I earned last month. Oops, let me get this. I don't know where the camera is. Here it is. There it is. This was the Halloween one. I ran for the month of November. I didn't run. I walked the month of November, I did 30 days of walking. This challenge, the Holiday Streaker Challenge, which I'm working on now, and I won't take out dog tag. This is a dog tag. The dog tag kind of looks like that. This is the one that I'm working on now to the end of December. So on December 31st, I can open that up and take out my dog tag to match my other dog tag. You know? I'm telling you, I'm loving these. Anyway, I've done 16.6 miles of the 46 miles of the Mount Fuji virtual challenge. I decided to start the Mount Fuji challenge. I think I will finish before January 1st. I'm surprised that I've made 16 miles, probably because of all of the walking I did when we moved back and forth. I was going from that lot to this lot and walking with Rowley and, you know, the whole deal, making sure he got his regular walk in anyway. But I did 16 and a half miles on that. So I'm thinking that I'll probably finish this just about Christmas. Who knows? Anyway, so anyhow, and I'm enjoying the walking, and Rowley's enjoying the walking. We got up this morning and went out. I think it was 6:30, 7 o'clock. It was 28 degrees. Now, I know that doesn't sound cold to a lot of people, but this is the middle of the desert. This is the middle of, you know, the Southwest. It goes up to 100 and some odd degrees here. 28 degrees is cold. Okay, when you're used to 100, 110, 28 is really, really cold. I was out there in my down jacket, had my gloves on, the whole deal. Had Rowley all in his sweater and everything, you know, thinking maybe I should put a hat on him, you know. It was cold. So anyway, to sum up, I'm feeling good about the surgery. I'm feeling good. I'm thankful for the opportunity to have had it, and that it's worked so well for me. I would do the surgery again for sure. So, please share, please subscribe, and please comment and ring the notification bell so you know next time I upload this stuff, okay? And don't forget to click show more to see the stuff in the description below. And last but not least, thank you for watching and listening, and thanks for subscribing. Take care of you and yours, and blessed be.